Hi there guys, so just going to have a quick look through some of the Maths Watch questions in specifically rather than the ones from the sheet. Some of you do perhaps need to just look at some of the videos that I make on YouTube just a little bit more carefully. I do even though this isn't a specific question on the sheet, I do actually go through this type of question in that video because I realised of course there wasn't this type of question on the sheet, but it was here. Nonetheless, we'll have a look through whilst we're here. So for a question like this then, hopefully we've picked up so far that, there we go, we've got the open circle which leads to an inequality which doesn't include the number 3 but then includes everything greater than 3. Okay, so we use the letter presented to us, so x will refer to every number that we want. Okay, so we would like values which are quite simply greater than 3. So there's two ways of writing that. We can say x is greater than 3, that way round, or we can say 3 is less than x, which still reads right to left as x is greater than 3. So the inequality sign always faces the set of numbers, if you like, that you want when we're using algebraic terms, or in this case it faces, or in other cases it faces the larger of the two expressions or numbers. Okay, so the open circle refers to the fact that we just use the greater than or less than sign. If it was a shaded in circle, like so, we'd have to use the symbol operator on Maths Watch to get up the symbols, because we would like a greater than or equal to 3, or x is greater or 3 is less than or equal to x, this way around. So either of these two are acceptable if it was shaded in. So that just simply implies that I do want the number 3 included in the values that I want. Okay, so x can be any number as long as it's greater than or equal to 3, or as we had previously, strictly greater than it. Let's just go back. So there we go. So there we go. Okay, so moving on to the next question. So I'm just using Danny's as an example here. So hopefully now that should answer how to do this one. Okay, so I won't give the game away entirely, but we can't include 5, but we would like numbers that are less than 5. So I want all my values of x which are less than 5. So that inequality sign will open up facing the 5. The x will be on the smaller side, the pointy side, because I want all values less than 5, but I don't need that less than or equal to, because again it's not shaded in. Okay, so moving forward then, let's have a look at a question like this. Okay, here we go. So if you like, you can consider them separately, because you have done the equations work presumably, which is like the work on the sheet. So if you said, well, minus 15 is less than 3n, if you solve this little equation you would divide by 3 and you would say n is greater than minus 5 by dividing by 3. Equally, if you chose the right hand side here, you could say, well, 3n is less than or equal to 6, again divide by 3, so n must be less than or equal to 2. If you put all that back together, of course, we end up with minus 5 is less than n, but n must also be less than or equal to 2. Now of course this now looks like one of those number sets from one of the original questions on Maths Watch, so on the sheets I should say. So we drew a number line, what would we see? Well, over minus 5 we'd have the open circle, because I don't want to include that negative 5, and we go all the way up to 2, and we'd have a shaded in circle on this one, because we do want to include 2, and we'd have a line connecting them. Okay, so because we want the values of n, which just means which it should say, oh it does say n as an integer up here, so we can't have negative 5, so the next number we can have would be negative 4, negative 3, and then you go all the way up, so minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and this time we can include 2 because we've shaded in the circle, because we've got an equals to sign here. In general, if you wanted to consider this as one inequality in its own right, you can just divide by 3 all the way through. So where it's like an equation, whatever you do to one side you do to the other. In this case, whatever you do to one section you must do to the other two sections. Okay, so we just divide by 3 throughout, and it straight away becomes this inequality here. Okay, so again for this question 11, this one's straight out of the sheet. we don't want -1, but we do want to go up to 3. So the integer values that satisfy this are 0, 1, 2, and we can include 3 in this case because it's a shaded in one. Okay, so moving through, solve the inequality. So we can see here maybe Danny's had a go. So we've added 7, 5 add 7 gets us to 12, but then I would do 12 divided by 4, so the answer would be 3. So I suspect Danny doesn't know how to do that. This is the bit that's gone wrong here. There would be no equal sign in the answer. Okay, we have to keep this inequality. So you solve it like a regular equation, just like I did, just to repeat again in the first videos that I made, except you must keep the inequality sign in there. Okay, so for all of these ones, which are again in part 2 of the video, maybe in part 1 as well, you just solve like a regular equation. So here we would take away 3 and divide by 5, but then you'd have to keep in that greater than or equal to symbol, and to do that you press that little plus button there. There you go, that would be the symbol that you'd want to use when you present your answer. Okay, so here we take away 3 to get to 45, divide by 5 to get down to 9, so we'd have x is greater than or equal to 9, for instance. So if we look through, all of these ones now can be solved in exactly the same way. Maybe we'll do one more. Let's try and find the hardest one, shall we? Let's do the hardest equation one. Okay, so like an equation, we see some brackets, so we'll expand them. So we've got 2 times 4x, so we've got 8x plus 2 is less than 6x minus 9. Okay, so I've expanded that. And now I'll just solve, so or balance, so I'll lose 6x from both sides of the equation. So now 2x plus 2 is less than minus 9. Take away that 2 from both sides, so now 2x is less than negative 11. Divide by 2, so x must be less than minus 5.5. Okay, so top tips, or key points actually really, rather than a tip. You must keep the inequality sign that you're given in the first instance. You solve it like a regular equation. If you have to draw on a number line, a symbol that does not have the equal sign, or an inequality symbol that doesn't have an equal sign underneath it, means it's a hollow circle or white circle. If it does have an equal sign underneath it, it means you can include that number on a number line. Okay, so last little point here, if we were to draw this answer on a number line, we would have the number minus 5.5 here, open circle around it. I want x to be less than this. Okay, so it's, remember, it points to the smaller number, if you like. So we would want all values less than minus 5.5, so minus 6.5, minus 7.5, minus 8, minus 9, whatever. Okay, so there we go. I hope that follow-up video there now helps you to have a go and complete a little bit more of the Maths Watch. So I use Danny's there, but the same questions are coming from similar people. I just use his as an example. Okay.